welcome to another episode of Financial Freeway. My name is David J. Atwood. I am the man rocking the Ray-Bans today on your road to financial freedom. Couple things I want to talk about this morning. Number one, put up a deer fence on the weekend to keep the deer out of the beautiful fruit trees that we planted in the backyard. And Gaby, God bless her, she just loves to put everything we do up on social media. And there's a couple times where I'm like, not a fan of that picture. It's not the one I would have put up. But God bless her, she does it. And then I get the backlash from all my buddies telling me about how I'm too busy to hang out with them because I'm too busy planting fruit trees. Thank you. But I actually did enjoy the landscaping part of the weekend. I thought that was really, really enjoyable. We had to put up a deer fence around the trees because we've had issues with deer in the past. And last year we planted an apple tree, and it was already big enough that it was going to bear fruit. And the deer came, and one day they ate all the leaves that were really low to the ground, and then the next day they ate all the leaves that were high. They stood on their hind legs and ate them. It's what they do. If you ever see it, it's kind of funny. Then they ate all the apples that were left on the tree, because there was a day there where there was 2 apples on the tree, and there was no leaves. It was kind of almost like a Charlie Brown apple tree. And then the next day, a week later, we went to go check on the tree, and I was kind of hoping that maybe it was late enough in the year that the tree would have already started getting ready for its fall hibernation. And nope, the deer came and ate the whole tree, so it was just a little stump left of it. They actually ate the tree. They just ate the whole thing. So this year, after planting the trees, I decided we were gonna set up a deer fence, and so we got a deer fence set up. So so far, I think we're like day 3. Deer fence is still working. Trees are still there. No leaves have been eaten off yet. So hoping that maintains until the trees establish themselves and can survive. As I spoke yesterday about how really amazing it was to have that really, that great day of work. It was so satisfying. And this morning, I'm in the office and I'm working away on another project, and I look out and I see the backyard. I'm just loving it. It's not quite what it was before, but it is definitely something to be proud of. And every day we go out there and do a little bit more work, and it's looking better. So just a quick update on that. We're trying a couple of different things right now, and one of the things that we're working on is getting some raw land. I want to get some raw land up island, a bit away from everything, so I can enjoy my golden years in somewhat quiet, a little slowed down pace, living outside the city. And a part of this is originally it was just about finding land with enough space on it, and I had figured out a way to pay for the land and make that work. And as we were talking about what we were going to do and how we we're going to make this all happen, Gaby came up with a quick idea. And then we started thinking about other things that we could do. And next thing you know, we have a full-fledged business plan. I think when it comes to anything, if you're a magician, you're always going to be looking for something that you can do magic with. And if you're a mechanic, you're always going to be looking for ways to improve the vehicle that you're driving, or what other people, if you have an ear for things or an eye for things, you're going to be able to pick out things that a lot of people might not be able to see. And one of the things for myself that I do is I am always kind of looking for ways to make money. And to the point where when I hear someone say anything about just about anything, I can extrapolate and go, well, if you do this times 365, divide by 12, next thing you know, that's your monthly income. And I look and I think, okay, so if the average Canadian makes $5,000 a month and your business plan makes $5,000 or more, you've got a career. So I'm always kind of in that mindset of how to make things work like that. To the point where last night I was actually dreaming of a business idea and business concept, and when I woke up, it was so fresh in my mind, and I was so excited about the potential that I got up, went to the office and started banging out a spreadsheet to see how viable that option was. And I think that's the same thing when it comes to any opportunities. If you are constantly putting yourself in a position where you're learning, like I just finished the book Money Mastery by Tony Robbins, and that is a big book, but it does kind of alter the way you perceive the world around you. The more you educate yourself on anything, any one thing, the more you will perceive it. If, for instance, if you're a Toyota mechanic and you're specialized in Toyota trucks, Toyota Tacomas and Tundras, you will see all day long Toyota trucks. Everywhere you go, you'll see Toyota trucks. And it's how we're wired. And we actually change, I believe we change the neural pathways in our mind, in our brain, when we start to focus on one thing, hyper focus on one thing. And for myself, it's being an entrepreneur. It's looking at the potential of having businesses that are profitable. And again, here's another thing about me that's really important to understand. When I'm putting together a business plan, I mean, in the beginning, when I put together a business plan, I always do 100% success rate. So if I am building a hotel and it's a 100-room hotel, all my numbers will be based on, in the beginning, of each room in that hotel being at full occupancy 365 days a year. Then what I'll do is when I start fine-tuning the plan, I'll go through and I'll start looking up occupancy rates, which I've done when I was we were looking at picking up a place in Italy, and it was that we were doing that kind of thing, and also Spain as well. So when I'm looking at those kind of models, I start with, okay, what can we make if we're 100% successful, we can't fail, and we have to turn people away. And then I start building back from that. Because if it's not a viable option at 100%, then I'm not even going to go forward and even start wasting time thinking about it. But if I start chipping away at that percentage point, I get down to somewhere in the neighborhood of 10% occupancy, and I'm still making enough profit to pay for the hotel, pay for the staff, then I'm starting to think, okay, now we've got something to work with here. So back to my original thing is, if you are the person wondering how to transfer $1,000 or $2,000 into $1 million, if you're wondering how that works, you will find out how easily it can happen if you start to educate yourself. And I don't want to be condescending when I say this, but when I started, I believed that you could only get to a wealthy state in life if you had some sort of I call it the lottery ticket. You have rich parents, you win the lottery ticket, you sue someone and make your $1 million that way. But the more I educate myself, the more I'm able to perceive all these opportunities that are all around us all the time. And the more I see these opportunities, the more frustrated and angry I get because of the narrative that's being told to us by our parents and the leadership of our countries. And I'm not talking about just Canada, but Canada, I mean, it is prevalent with every politician standing up and saying, you aren't able to do it, you aren't able to make it. Children today have no chance of being successful. What a horrible thing to say to somebody. What a horrible thing to say. That's like waking up every day and saying to your kids, you have no chance of getting an A in your class because there's kids that are smarter than you. That to me, that's horrible. Or there's no chance you're ever going to get a win in your baseball game because these other teams are so much better than you. That is horrible. And you know what's funny? When I say it like that, people do agree with me. How horrible is it to tell your kids that getting an A is out of their reach? It's impossible. They're like, oh, how dare you? But to tell them there's never a chance you're ever going to get a house in this economy, that's totally okay. I couldn't even imagine. If my child came home and said, I'm having a tough time struggling with math, I would never turn to them and go, well, you know, math isn't for everyone, and you're just not a bright person, so you're just not going to be able to do it. Regardless of the reality of the situation, as the elders of our society, we have to encourage our youth to shoot for the moon, and that it is possible. And once you start to believe it's possible, you will start to see opportunities. You will start to see and realize ideas and concepts that you never ever before thought were possible. It's like I say, like I had no idea. And the more I educate myself, the more books I read, because I read audiobooks while I'm working out. I listen to audiobooks while I'm working out. And I'm constantly have someone in my ear talking about companies that make millions of dollars a week. Not $100,000 a year, but $1 million a week. And the more I hear that, the more I'm realizing, it is possible. What could we do? How can we make this work? How, maybe not to that level of getting to a multi-billion-dollar company, you know, a company valuated at, you know, the B's or the T's, but definitely at least at a point where I'm not having that scarcity mindset where I can't buy a house because all the cheap houses are gone because the boomers came and bought them all up in the 80s, or I can't buy a house because what was the other one? There's corporations are unrealistically maintaining the high rate of hyperinflating the cost of houses. All of these are 100% lies. The cost of houses is based entirely on supply and demand, and I've proven that time and time again. Houses are expensive in Vancouver. In Vancouver right now in Canada, it's the highest, most expensive real estate in almost the world, in one city. There are so many cities within Canada where the cost of real estate is not high, and the reason it's not high, and this is why I get so emotional about it, is because nobody wants to live there. If you have a city that is beautiful, has temperate weather, is a beautiful climate, has friendly people, low crime rate, close to a major port, has an international airport, close to the border with another country, you have all these things. Plus, again, like I say, like I can't stress enough the breathtaking landscape that Vancouver has, with a major international city nested right on the water, and behind it is these beautiful mountains, beautiful ski mountains. It's so impressive. And for people to go, well, it's corporations keeping the prices artificially inflated. No, it's because the entire world wants to live there. Nobody wants to live in Wass Lake or Hinton, Alberta, or Regina. Nobody wants to live in those cities, and that's where you can buy a house for $100,000 or $200,000. You can easily buy a house there. Now, you want to buy that same house, and I've had this argument with people living in Victoria. There are places in Victoria right here where my house, if you moved my house to that place, it would be crazy expensive. So I had to live on the outside of the city. These are sacrifices we made, but I bought back in 2000. So this was where I made my good moves. But we have to understand that it's first of all, and this is really important, number one, it's possible. And that's the part that really I want people to understand. Becoming wealthy is possible. It's not impossible. I'll get the sun behind me, so I'm going to do this real quick. But we have to make sure that we let people know that number one thing you have to do is educate yourself. Realize that it is possible. Once you realize it's possible, you can start to actually train yourself to start learning about how to make it happen. And then once you start learning how to make it happen, you'll see it all around you. It's like somebody flicks on a switch, and the moment you understand how to become wealthy and successful and live a life of abundance, you'll wonder why, number one, it took you so long to figure it out, and number two, why nobody else can see it. And that's the frustrating part for me and for other people to understand, is it's so easy to sit back and go, no, it's not going to work. It's too hard. It's too this, it's too that. It's not like it was, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to do that, but it's really hard to go, yes, it is possible, because then you have a greater chance of being wrong. So, anyways, but I digress. I think the important thing with today's message is to start teaching yourself, educating yourself, read those books. Read Money Mastery by Tony Robbins. Read Too Big to Fail. What's the other ones? Oh, there's so many more. The Millionaire Next Door. There's so many great books I've started reading and really changed my perspective on money and success and abundance. Thanks so much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you check out financialfreeway23.ca, and of course, spread the good news, because we believe here that everyone in the world has a right to live a life of abundance and success. Thank you so much, wherever you are in this beautiful world today. God bless.